Hello and welcome to the first mid-season episode here over at the Stakehouse pod. I'm Conall McCabe, joined by Lucas Dazinski. Our regular listeners will know that each weekly episode normally features of predictions on the latest round of Premier League games plus analysis. However, this time we're just diving straight in with analysis because there's already been so much to talk about in the off-season. Lucas, so much of it centres around your club. How are you feeling right now?
Not great, to be honest. I mean, bit worried about the new season now. Look, obviously, there's a really good opportunity for Frank, and I feel like he has to take it. But you know, he's taken some of the coaching staff with him as well. He's taken assistant first team coach. He's taken the head of athletic performance and also a first team analyst, which is mental. So he's taken quite a few people with him. And look, to be honest, like, at least it's happening now instead of September or October, right? So
Yep.
we've got plenty of time, so that's the bonus, right? So whoever comes in now, like, at least they got a long period of time to, you know, have that pre-season, sort out the staff, because that managers need to bring some staff in as well, right? Because it'll, like, cover those holes and stuff. So
Yeah, generally managers do like to bring their own staff
yeah,
in.
I'm just thinking like some of the players as well, because obviously Frank was such a big character and personality. Everyone liked him. Like some of the players might be thinking, oh, actually, if there's a bid comes in now, do I just go?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very interesting few weeks, I'd say, and well, the whole summer. But the next 2 weeks, I want the manager to be picked like ASAP, just so like, you know, has enough time. But obviously, it's a very important decision.
I mean, Benham's a shrewd individual and hopefully will work a similar way to Bloom at Brighton. We'll have backup options in the pipeline. So
Yeah.
you'd like to hope that Brentford can move quick. Do you think that Frank will succeed at Spurs?
I like to say yes, although I feel like it might be a bit tough winning some of the players over. I think was it Romero posted like literally the hour after Frank was announced, like a thank you to Ange. I think a lot of players liked Ange, and the fact that he just won a cup and he got sacked is, I think it's a bit harsh. I definitely think it was the right decision, but you can see how some of the players might be a bit like, oh, actually, bit harsh. But look, I think this is a good opportunity for Frank. I don't think there's going to be a lot of pressure based on how Spurs performed last season, right? You're in Champions League, obviously try to get far in that, but even if he finishes like top 6 Premier League, I think that'll be a really good result. I don't think he's expected to get top 4 this year,
Oh,
perhaps.
surely not. Surely not. I mean, that would be miracle working if he managed to
Yeah,
get
but look, he's going to a different whole setup, right? Like he's a good manager, but I feel like at Brentford, the setup's so good. I feel like almost that helps him a lot to be a good manager, right? And the Spurs have that. Not sure. I don't know if I'd want to work for Levy, but you know, he's bringing some of his coaching staff along, so perhaps he can like kind of spread some of that mentality and ways of working over there.
I mean, in my point of view, I think the odds are stacked against him. As much as I love Frank, I think he's a great manager and an all-round nice bloke
You
as
reckon?
well, by the way. But I just think he needs time, and I don't think he'll get it at Spurs. You know, you're talking about them top 6. I think that would be a major achievement this season. Even top 8, I think, would be a pretty good achievement.
I mean,
considering
Ange
where
had
they are.
what, 2 years, right?
2 years, but ultimately Spurs fans won't remember the fact they finished 17th. They'll remember the fact they won silverware, and now the expectation's been set there. And you know, Levy's trigger happy, as you say. I just don't think Frank will get the time he needs to see the job through. And the other thing I'll say on this, if you look at similar managers that have done a very steady job in similar clubs and similar roles, you think of David Moyes at Everton that went to United back in the day. You think of Spurs. You think of Nuno Espirito Santo that went to Spurs.
Yeah.
You think of Graham Potter as a really good example that went from Brighton to Chelsea.
Yeah.
All 3 of those managers had really shining expectations before they made the moves, and then in all 3 cases, the jobs just proved a little bit too big. Now, Frank definitely deserves a shot. Whether it'll work for him, the jury's out for me. I don't think it probably will. Hopefully, he'll be able to walk, maybe even back to Brentford one day. Who knows? But I think for me, I'm not sure it's a match made in heaven. I think it could be tough for him there because he's got to get results quickly. There's no settling in period there at Spurs. So he's got to make it work. However, one way that he might make it work is by bringing one of his former cronies along with him in the shape and form of Brian and Mbeumo. I mean, look, for me, I don't like it when managers look to immediately recruit their former players. Harry Redknapp was obviously a specialist for this.
Get the gang together, Crouchy,
Nico Cranshaw, bring the gang back together. But Eric Ten Hag has done it more recently at United, hasn't he? And that recruitment proved, dire. So I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's lazy, and I think you've got to really tap into what, as you've mentioned before, recruiting for the club rather than recruiting for the manager. Yeah. So I don't love it for that reason. And look, the other thing on this, and Mbeumo's really, as a United fan, I was so excited when the news broke that he might come to us. Like, so excited. Because everybody's talking about Cunha and Mbeumo, right? And obviously the Cunha deal's done. Done with no fuss, by the way. No fuss, no talk, no delaying on wages.
Paid up, straight
away. He wanted to come. It was dead simple, and it was the way that it should be. And he was meant to be the risk. Whereas in Mbeumo, everybody talks about the fact he's really good attitude on the pitch, so on. I just hated his ask. I mean, coming in and asking for 250k, like he's currently on 50, right? I don't.
Yeah, but you've got players like Casemiro on 300, right? So why not get 250? I don't think he's being rude there, considering all the other players are on that amount, and he's probably going to be one of the best players at the team, right?
He has to understand that United can't continue in that model. That model is not sustainable. He has to appreciate that. No one's saying he doesn't deserve a pay rise, but he should have come in with an ask of 150, 200. And for me, it was greedy to try and get 5 times the amount of money.
I don't think that's the issue, though, right? The issue is that United are being tight on the fee and they don't want to pay up when they clearly they wanted to pay up 63 for Cunha, but they're not going to pay 60 for.
United would have got there with the fee. Is my belief. But ultimately, Mbeumo was, regardless of what's happening with the fee, Mbeumo was still saying, "This is the money that I want." That didn't leave a great taste for me.
I don't know. Well, why didn't they put the fee of 60 mil then? And why wasn't that? It was obviously not that. Like, I think the salary stuff's separate.
But with the way that transfers happen these days, you're negotiating with the player and the club alongside, right? So from United's perspective and trying to get this deal over the line, they're obviously working with Tottenham. Of course, they're trying to get it for as small as possible because clubs love to extort United, as you can understand. And
value is value.
And at the same time, you're negotiating with Mbeumo to get him for the smallest wages that you can. So, look, of course he's entitled to ask for what he wants. I just thought it wasn't really in keeping with the kind of the image and the mentality I've had from watching him all this year. Ask for 150, maybe even 200, fine. But to go in at 250 felt greedy.
Yeah, but maybe it was going in 250 and going to get 200, right? I don't think that's like...
Yeah, maybe that was...
I feel like you're kind of like coming in as if this is the decider for him. I don't think it is. Like, if United go back saying 200k, you'll be like, okay, I'll take that.
Okay, and maybe that is it. And that's in a negotiation tactic. You'd like to hope so. But I mean, now it looks like he wants to go to Spurs anyway.
I mean, it's perfect for us. There's going to be a little bidding war, hopefully. Who knows? He might go for 70, but I can't see Levy entertaining that idea.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's saying, look, if he's asking us for 250 and now he's coming out saying that he's intrigued more by the Tottenham project because Frank's going there, United should now lose interest and move on to other targets because, again, it's not a good look. If United can carry on in this race now, it looks desperate, right?
I mean,
I think you have to.
They're kind of desperate, though, aren't they?
I don't think we are. I mean, if you look at Cunha and Ahmad, who could play in the 2 number 10s, what we're really, really desperate for is a number 9. And I think that's a more important signing than Mbeumo. As much as I'd have loved to have had Mbeumo at the start, the whole circumstances around it have actually put me off it a little bit. Well, let's talk about Florian Wirtz. Deal done, it seems like. Transfer fee agreed. 100 million up front, rising to 116 million. Is this good business?
It's a lot of money for one player. That I'll be honest, I haven't watched him play that much in the Bundesliga. But I feel like whenever you spend that much money, that player needs to be world class, right? And I would prefer doing something like City, where they spent 120 mil on 3 players, right? Yeah. Big fee. I guess everyone's saying is the next KDB, right? But we'll see and find out.
100%. I mean, it's a lot of money, and Liverpool don't usually spend this sort of money. So it's intriguing that they really do see it. Apparently, the pitch that Arne Slot has made to Wirtz is that he will have the freedom and be the number one spot in the kind of the number 10 position, with Szoboszlai moving back to play more of a number 8 role in that team. And that's really appealed to him, and that's why he's chosen Liverpool over Bayern.
Well, apparently he was going to go to City, but he wanted a guarantee that Pep would be there throughout duration of his contract, and City didn't want to give that guarantee, so he went to Liverpool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the rumours that go on as well.
I mean, that could be like...
City dropped out because the money was too big, is what I heard. So
yeah,
there's different stories floating around with that one. The thing I'd be slightly concerned of on the Liverpool fan side, because he's obviously got huge potential. There's no doubt he's got the capabilities to be an absolute star in the Premier League. But you try and cast your mind back and think of similar player profiles that have made big money moves from Germany of a similar mould. And I would say the two closest players that I could compare him to that have made the jump at that sort of stage in their careers for big money at big clubs. And I'm thinking of the likes of Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. And they're the two that would immediately...
Werner. Yeah.
Well, this is my point, right? So Werner was banging in goals for fun at Leipzig. Everybody forgets that because his Premier League form was just atrocious. But before he moved to the Premier League and lost his confidence completely, he was an absolute assassin. So I think that's a concern, because is there the likelihood and possibility that Wirtz will go a similar way to somebody like Werner, or to a smaller extent, Havertz? So
I mean, KDB came from Wolfsburg, though, right?
He did, but KDB at least had some experience in the Premier League before.
Yeah.
Very, very minimal, I agree. But there was at least something there. He'd spent time in and around an English club. He knew the culture. He actually had some minutes under his belt, even if they weren't very many. So look, I'm not saying Wirtz is going to fail because Werner and Havertz did. I'm just saying, in terms of trying to come up with comparable situations, these are the closest two that I have. And maybe it'll work for him, maybe it won't. But it seems a huge amount of money to splash at 116 million. So I like it, because ultimately I want to see good players in the Premier League. I don't want to see good players in other leagues. I want to see them in the Premier League, because that's the league that I watch the most. So it's good to have him here. And the sad thing for him is, if he doesn't start performing immediately, that fee will hang over his head. So let's hope he's got the shoulders to deal with it.
Yeah, I wonder when that's going to be confirmed. Surely any day now, right?
Say that again.
I said I wonder when it's going to be finally confirmed. Probably any day now.
It's
official
there by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. The next one is Crystal Palace. So just to catch anyone that isn't up to speed on this one, effectively Palace are qualified for the Europa League through winning the FA Cup. However, one of their owners, with a minority stake, not that really matters, also has a stake and owns Lyon, who are also in the Europa League. And under UEFA rules, an owner cannot have have ownership of two clubs within the same competition.
I think that's been resolved now.
Has it?
Yeah, I think something about share dilution and stuff like that. It's selling some of his stake, etc. So Palace are expected to play in.
I mean, that's good to hear. I hope so, because.
But yeah, I mean, it was a mess, right?
It was a mess, and
But what was worse was, amongst all the mess, Forest sent a letter to the UEFA kicking off about that. So Forest tried to get upgraded to Europa League. I mean, that's just pretty scummy.
Yeah, it really
that is proper scummy.
I mean, in terms of the way Forest aren't covering themselves in glory, the way that Marinakis has acted in the last few weeks, they really haven't. But just on the Palace one quickly, because ultimately, it's a shame they've had to go through this. You look at the atmosphere around Newcastle winning the Carabao this year. They were going mental up there. And fair play, great achievement. They won a cup this year for the first time in God knows how long. But Palace winning the FA Cup, in my view, was more of an achievement than Newcastle winning the Carabao. Right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So they did incredibly well. I mean, they beat City in the final,
yeah.
Played well throughout, beat really tough teams. And for the owner to kind of cause them these issues at this point, you just feel sorry for Glasner, you feel sorry for the Palace team, and you feel sorry for the Palace fans, because it's a real lack of show of faith from the owner. Because the rules are there for a reason. There's no subjectivity here. It's just straight.
Yeah,
straight
the deadline was like March, I think, to sort it out, and apparently, obviously, the owners didn't think they're going to win the FA Cup, so
Exactly.
they
So they didn't
sort it
back
out.
their own team. They didn't match
Yep.
the ambition that the team and the fans have, and that's really disappointing. And you hope that they can find an internal share dilution strategy, because if not, then that's a huge opportunity for some other buyer or shareholder to come in and take that.
Yeah, should have whip round.
Because they need to get rid of that. Like, they have to play in Europe. So really been stitched up there, and the owner should have had a lot more faith in his own side there. So yeah, hopefully gets resolved. Sounds like it is. The Club World Cup is about to start. Starts in 2 days' time. Are you going to watch it? Have you learnt all of the Al-In players yet?
No, there's some value on some of the teams. No, I'm not going to watch it. Maybe I'll watch the knockout stage when it's actually like decent teams playing, but the group stage, I mean, I don't even know what kind of teams the good teams are going to put out, right? Like, they're playing really poor teams, so like probably heavy rotation, just straight as a pre-season, I imagine.
No, they're going to go for it. The prize money on offer here is ridiculous.
Really? What is it?
Yeah. So the winner gets 775 million.
Are you sure?
It's
Is that true?
Yeah, it's obscene money, right?
Wow.
So,
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. That's mental.
So they've all sent really, really strong squads. If you look at the prices and the odds on this tournament, obviously from Europe, you've got the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Bayern, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Do you know the odds on an European team winning the competition?
Sorry, a European team.
Yeah, any European team.
Probably like 1.1.
Even worse, 1.05. 1 to 20.
Probably a bit of value then, right?
I mean, if you want to risk your mortgage on it, yeah.
5% return, not bad.
So effectively 1 to 20 that a European team wins it. It's just absolutely crazy.
I wasn't aware about the fee. That could make things interesting now, actually.
Yeah, it can and it can't. But ultimately, for me, right, I absolutely love football. I watch as much of it as I can, and I'm probably contributing to the overall problem of greed, because I got Sky, I've got TNT, I happen to have Amazon Prime. I watch as much football as I can get my hands on, and this is the first time now that I'm saying no. I'm saying enough's enough, because ultimately I don't have DAZN. That's more money to fork out on this. From a fan's perspective, the price of watching football is just getting absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy. On top of that, you've got fan fatigue, which is a real thing. If you look at a report that one of the media companies in our industry did, it's actually the one that I work for, fan fatigue is in play, and actual viewership was down 10% this year from the 2023-24 season. Fans actually can't cope with the amount of football on offer here that is now available for them to watch. And the final point on this is players are going to get burnt out. Players are going to get injured, and we're not going to see the best of them in the Premier League because they're just being absolutely exhausted. They're not getting proper breaks now. They're getting max 1 to 2 weeks a summer. Maybe there's a winter break, okay, fine, but it's still not long enough. You think back to the mid-thousands or even the 90s, players had proper 4, 5, 6 week breaks. They came back fully charged, fully refreshed. I'm not completely sure. I'm not a physiotherapist, but I'm not sure that your body recovers as well as it possibly needs to within that 2 week break. And not only does it stop you performing optimally all year, but it means that you might be in line for shorter careers due to burnout and smaller, reduced spells at the very top of your game and all of these kind of things. At some point, we have to draw a line. And now trying to fill in every summer like this with this kind of major competition where the European teams are all going to go deep and are going to play a lot of football here, and it's going to be their best players, it's just too much for me. I don't like the idea of the tournament. This is purely a money grab. And, you like you. Maybe I'll watch a few later games. I don't know, but the excitement level about the tournament is absolutely
Doesn't exist. It
minuscule.
starts next week, right? I think 18th or something like that.
Sorry again.
It starts next week, right? Just to
Sunday.
correct you, the winner doesn't get
Sunday, I
700.
believe.
They get $125 million. The winner.
Is that how much it is?
Yeah, the winner gets that. Yeah, mate, like 700 is mental. Like they'll never get that kind of amount of money for the winner.
Sure, I thought it was that.
No,
money
it's
being poured
total
into
price fund is total price pot is $1 billion US, and then the champions can earn up to 125 million. So I mean that's still loads of money. That's basically what you get for TV rights in a year in the Premier League. So
It's crazy money. I mean, apparently they've had to reduce a lot of ticket prices and stuff because things aren't selling out there as well. So
yeah,
we're not giving it the vote of confidence, basically, from our end. However, hopefully we will have lots more transfer activity to discuss very, very soon. So we'll be back shortly. We'll actually be running another podcast in the coming days regarding the Champions League format this year and discussing whether or not it worked and throwing a new idea at you in terms of a solution that could make it even
the Stakehouse
better.
Pod Champions League format.
Yes, we need to get it trademarked.
We'll get the price pool sorted as well.
Stand by for that one, which will be coming. We'll be releasing very soon. For now, it's goodbye from us. Enjoy the rest of the transfer window, and we'll see you again very soon.
See ya.